family? Today is January 26, 2020, Tuesday. I guess it's good to be back. I know I haven't done one of these in a while. I guess what would you call these? I saw there's a new service, and I wish I could remember it right now, but it's an audio platform, and they added this podcast on there and wanted me to claim ownership in case I wanted to adjust anything on it as it was listed by default. Anyways, probably information you guys don't want to hear and aren't interested about. If anyone's still listening, honestly, as far as podcasts, I totally, stopped doing these completely, just pushed out of the rotation, and, I kind of talked about it in previous episodes, where when you have a full-time job, you only have so much limited time on your free time for creative endeavors, and I think it's just impossible for me, I don't know about other people, to keep up with a schedule, let alone a schedule for YouTube and for podcasts. So, I don't know, I try to work it in as much, but, as much, even if I had time, there's that motivational factor. And to be quite honest, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with a lot of things in life, and for one being my full-time job. And it's not necessarily that I don't like it. I love my job. I love what I do. I don't like the team that I'm on. I don't think that we make a cohesive team unit for the job that needs to be done. Very, very nice people, very likable people, not the right field. You can't really be a baby boomer and be learning your job in your 60s, like in IT. If you're in your teens, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, even 50s, I would say 40s max, and even then, the only people in IT that are in their 40s that have succeeded either have their degrees or have been doing it for many years. I don't see anyone, going into IT in their 40s and really making it, but, I haven't, to be honest, the pool size of individuals that meet that criteria that I was just talking about is probably very slim to none. So I haven't been in a situation where many 40-plus-year-olds were starting a new field, but in the few situations that I have ran across, they weren't really very, good. Technology, IT, it's just, it's one of those things that you kind of have to learn, by just being involved, being part of your daily life and routine. It's not just something you can learn, especially if you're from an older generation that's not technically inept. I don't know if that's the right word, but if you're technically challenged or not used to the technology, right? Whereas, the new generation, and, in Generation X, when you grow up with certain technology, it just becomes second nature, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. I know some stuff might even be passed on by DNAs, but you have these moms that are on their phones, on Snapchat, on Facebook all day. They have these kids who almost, as if it were instinctually, they can start tapping away at a phone and start using it with ease as if they've always been able to, so it's kind of crazy. I don't know if that's like something that's passed down to from mom to child, because I know from a technical perspective that there is a lot that gets programmed to be ease of use, especially if you're a child. A lot of apps are designed to be used intuitively by human nature for child. That way they can get more ads and stuff clicked on and whatnot and so forth. But anyways, what am I talking about? What am I rambling about? I don't know. I need to run some errands here. I'm on my lunch break, the one lunch I get. This is going to be an awful week. I had to take some time off because I was just exhausted. Everyone takes their vacation, and they just don't care. I just came to realize that people don't care. They're just there to get a paycheck, and if no one's ever going to fire them, they're never going to quit. They're never going to retire, and it's just so exhausting, and at this point it's my fault for staying, right? Because they made it clear that they're not going to change, and I've made it clear that I'm not in a position to be happy, and I'm not in a position to grow, because the position I'm in is constantly having to do the same shit over and over again that I already knew before being hired on. Like, I wasn't hired on for, well, I don't know. I don't know why I was going to go there, but, I was hired for my experience. So I will go in and I have the experience, but at the same time, it's not my fault that I'm young. And I see this with a lot of other companies that my friends are in, especially in IT. When you join a company as a young IT person, there's a lot of investment that's going into you as a young IT person, because the company knows that, IT is the future, and they want it to their benefit that you stay with them for as long as possible. And, if that means that they're going to pay for certifications, they're going to pay for your schooling, whatever that means, they're going to make that happen. IT people are free agents in a way when it comes to, I guess any profession, right? But there's a limited supply, right? So you have all these companies fighting for the limited amount of IT folk, and there's a broad spectrum of IT. And you have all these IT people that are in different fields that maybe they don't want to be in, or they don't want to be in, but maybe that field pays them more, or maybe that's just the field that the company requires it. So you kind of have to be well certified in a lot of different aspects, so you can always have a job, and you will find that once you get into these positions, the title is just interchangeable. They'll just have you do whatever they need at the time, if you know how to do it, even if your job description doesn't say, that's what they're going to have you do. And that's just based on my limited experience. Like I said, I'm not the go-to be-all for IT. But yeah, I was just thinking, today's just been awful, man. I had requested 2 days off. I wish I would have just gotten the whole day off, but I work on a team where even though everybody that's been there for years seems to be able to manage multiple week-long vacations, I just can't manage to do that. And it's not because they won't let me or whatever. I'm sure if I asked and accumulate enough hours that they would let me, but no one's gonna go in and do my work for me. They're not a team. Whereas people take days off no one's, the work still needs to be done. No one's going to do it, and if people call off and I'm on shift, then I'm just going to have to do it, that's just part of my job. So you kind of expect that, you expect it to go both ways, but, I've been here 3-4 years now, whatever it's been, it's not going to happen. I've learned by now, in these 4 years, anything that's assigned to me, it's going to ultimately have to be resolved by me. And these last 2 people that my manager has hired, for lack of a better word, they're just not what I was expecting, I guess. And it's been probably 2 years that we've been super understaffed, just based on not growing our headcount and the amount of work trickling in increasing. So we've probably been understaffed for 2 years, and it's just been promised to me that we're going to get more people. It even got to a point where we lost a person before even being hired, so to a point where we were down to people, right? And then we hired a guy to backfill, right? And then we still had that open position, filled that position. Then we got a brand new position, filled that one, and so far I haven't noticed much of a difference. My work-life balance is still hectic. The amount of work statistically that's been assigned to me has not only stayed the same, but it probably increased. My stress has increased. My hair has decreased, and I don't know if it's due to the stress or just because I'm aging, but either way, it's taken a toll on my self-esteem and my confidence. But anyways, I'm just ranting now. I'm not even going anywhere with this, but we're gonna take a little break here while I go inside and have some motivational Red Bulls for later this evening, and I'll be right back with you. I might need to grab some gas. Bear with me. Alright, I'm back. I had to get some gas, whatnot, kind of funny. When I went in there, there's a guy, and he was paying, and, got his stuff, whatever he was grabbing, and, apparently he got a bunch of shit, and he went through the checkout, and, the manager, supervisor, shift lead, whatever you want to call her, I guess she was just busy. She wasn't paying attention, but she seemed so friendly, like she was going through all the motions, but obviously her mind was in another place, and she was running around doing a million things. It was kind of funny, but then he's like something about like one of the processes, and she's like, well, yeah, we're supposed to be getting a new person or something like that. And she's like, yeah, I'm the new person. Like, I'm the guy that you hired on or whatever, like, along those lines. And she's like, oh, I'm so busy that I didn't even realize what's going on. And, but anyway, so then they started, like, just talking over, and it was just so contradictory, because he was like, I guess he works like the graveyard shift, and he was just saying how slow it was, and how like dead and whatnot, and how people would only come in for cigarettes if anything. But then immediately she was like, oh yeah, we're actually never dead, we're always busy in this. I guess she was trying to be like, she's trying to be a goody good two shoes for the other employee, or she was leading by example, whatever you want to call it. And anyways, so for one reason or the other, she didn't want to say that they were dead or whatever. So he was just like And for some reason, he just agreed. He was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. He didn't retort her anything like, yeah, no, it's pretty fucking busy. I work here from this time to this time, and yeah, it's fucking dead. Like, but whatever. So, they started having some awkward conversation where, he was coming into his job while he was on shift and running into, like, his manager or whatever, and she didn't recognize him. And her not wanting to talk to him because he's just another annoying customer to her, and she just wants to get on with what she was finishing. I don't even know why I brought that up, but just stories that happen in life that just happen and just die. Like that moment in history would just like disappear if not documented by my stupid podcast. But yeah, made me dread like just thinking about working here, like at a gas station, at one of the 1,000 gas stations around here, where you see people in and out, running in and out, dealing with people constantly, dealing with transactions less than $20, and I just don't want to deal with people and out in the public that much anymore. If I can help it, as far as a career goes, I'm more than willing to help people in an appointment basis. Just know who I have to deal with. I don't like that randomness of retail and the openness to the publicness, where any sick person can waddle in and any depraved criminal can run in and take your life. I was just, because I had just finished this talking to you guys about my woes at my last job and IT in general, and then I go in and start listening to them, just conversating about their job, and it just made me feel even more miserable. So, just be thankful for the little things in life, I guess. Because I remember those days where I was working retail, where I was working all these dead-end jobs, and I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and luckily I trusted myself, I bet myself, and I got myself in the position I am today, that many people would probably like to be in, and I did it despite all the handicaps, all the cards that were dealt to me, as a first generation illegal immigrant, and what one has to deal with growing up here in America, with such a status. So, I don't know. Sorry about going into that story. If any of you guys work at a gas station, no means to offend, but it just those kinds of jobs. Even though I've worked in those positions before, I've always knew that it's not something I've wanted to dedicate my life to. It's not something for me. It was, it's something that I always strive to get out of, and luckily I'm at a point where I don't have to really deal with it, and unless I need services or goods, I go in as a customer, and that's another thing that a good job affords you, because then you can actually go out and spend money. It's just so crazy to me how many years me and my family and a lot of friends and people I know have gone through just because they hold that thought. Drive through Arby's. Holy shit, that kid was an asshole. Here at Arby's, where they got the meats. So I stopped recording my stupid little fast food orders. Seems like the only time I ever do a podcast anymore is while I'm on a lunch outing, because it kind of sounds good that you would, if you're working from home, you'd be able to cook from home and whatnot, but I just, maybe other people's jobs, I just can't find the time with this job. Like, constantly, I'm just working nonstop. Like, from, I get my breaks in between, don't get me wrong, but it's just a constant headache, it's not fun. It's not the funnest thing to deal with. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like a little biatch for complaining so much. But yeah, I don't know if these guys are a little busy or whatnot, but it's my fault for having to depend on fast food places with, for the most part, teenagers. If you can find these little pockets of great restaurants that have had the top quality employees for 15 plus years. You have these little Mexican ladies who've worked here for decades, right? Just at one location, and there's a lot of fast food places that people don't know about. McDonald's is probably the biggest one because at some point they hired anyone. Anyone, if you're an immigrant, you could find your way in. And then at some point they stopped. They started being more. They started using E-Verify, I believe. And ever since then, if you're an immigrant and you were working with them before, you kind of got grandfathered into the company. But other than that, there's a lot of people that were let go, and you don't get that anymore. So, but there's still a lot of other fast food joints that operate in the 1990s way. Holy crap! There's like a bag of food on the ground. I don't know if someone got angry and threw it, or if the employee dropped it by mistake. But I think in this case, I'm just gonna have to keep the microphone rolling and they give me my food, just in case anything weird happens. Maybe I'll have the opportunity to catch it on microphone. But yeah, I don't know. The funny thing is that this podcast has gone on for 23 minutes now, and I haven't even talked about what I figured I would talk about when I decided to start today's episode. But yeah, let me grab my wallet. I'm gonna have to pay here. Arby's, please. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Have a good day. Yeah, it seems like they're understaffed, but she was super nice. I don't know why that kid that was taking the orders was in such a bad mood, but it looks like it's just 3 of them, so it's probably someone called out sick, and the rest of them are having a bad day. But anyways, I need to wrap this up. My lunch is coming to an end here, and I would like to enjoy part of it, not having to use my brain for anything, but I guess I'll just wrap this up. I guess this too shall pass. It's just I don't know. It got a little frustrating just because it was my first day back from so I asked for 2 days off. Then the the Monday when I was supposed to return to work, I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling good. I super needed those extra 2 days, and I just knew, I needed more, and I needed more than that, but here I am back today, and lo and behold, everything that was on my plate when I left is still there waiting for me. So rest assured it's going to get done eventually, and I'm just going to have to stop saying no, and I've already had to say no today. I'm not going to be overworking myself to death for these unappreciative cucks who I don't like. I'm just going to say that, I don't see them as trustworthy individuals, they don't, not all of them, but they just say things that catch me the wrong way. They have personality traits that I despise, and I'm one of those people that if we just I don't like you, and that's hard, because for the most part, I like everyone, if you're nice and you talk to me, sometimes that's all it takes, whether you like me, on the other hand, it's a different question, because I know I have a rough personality, and I know a lot of people don't necessarily like me, and regardless of what I do, and I can't help that, but let me wrap this up. The Jazz are on an 8-game win streak. That's what I want to talk about. They are playing the Knicks tonight. The last time they lost before they went on this win streak was against the Knicks. How embarrassing was it that they lost to the Knicks the last time? That probably embarrassed them so much that it put them on this path to win so many games in a row. So will their streak continue tonight? Will they be able to surpass the New York Knicks? Because I believe they only played them 4 times, 2 times, right? Since it's an Eastern Conference team, I believe they only play once at home, once away. So they might be able to seal the series, the New York Knicks, who are a young team, who have a lot of good young pieces, but are not a great team. And honestly, I didn't even know that the Jet, I knew that they were on a win streak. I knew they were doing good, but I just haven't cared since they lost to the Knicks. And part of that was because I had some personal stuff I needed to take care of, and just wasn't able to indulge myself in the whole sports universe, so I could just say highlights and what I watch from other YouTubers. But I know that they're off to a good start, or since that Knicks defeat, they've been doing pretty well, and let's keep that going. They have a lot of great players. They have a great bench. They have a lot of great depth. That's the most important thing, because they might not have the elite superstar tandems or duos, trios that you have all over the West, but they have 12 pretty decent mediocre people. They have a lot of borderline stars, borderline 6, a lot of great players in other teams. The thing is with the Jazz is that we just have to go out and get undervalued players, to build with our small market franchise, and that's what we've been able to do, but who knows? 8 games. Will it continue? Will it end? I guess we'll see. Thanks for listening, and I appreciate it. Bye.